أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. From our lessons on divine power, Qudrat, we read from the Ayatul Kubra, the greatest sign, last week. This week, inshallah, God willing, we will read the section on divine power from the 29th word. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The third principle. The doer Fâil is all-powerful, Muktedir. Yes, just as the necessitating causes Muqtazi for the resurrection, Haşr, most certainly exist, the being who will bring about that resurrection is also all-powerful to the highest degree. There is no deficiency in his power. The greatest and the smallest things are equal in relation to him. To create an entire spring is as easy as creating a single flower. Yes, he is an all-powerful one, Kadir, to whose grandeur and power this entire universe, with all its suns, stars, worlds, particles, and atoms, testifies with limitless tongues. Now the first sentence said, the doer is all-powerful. What does this mean? Since the topic is the resurrection, it means he is all-powerful to bring about the resurrection. The Quran makes a claim. It says he will close this world, open the hereafter, and create an eternal realm. Well, is God, Janab Haq, all-powerful enough to create an eternal realm and to recreate human beings? Yes, he is all-powerful. Since the topic begins with the resurrection, we must first address why it is necessary. Does it really need to happen? Yes, the causes necessitating the resurrection exist. This was explained in previous lessons. The most obvious reason is this. The oppressor departs this world in his might, and the oppressed departs in his humiliation. But God is infinitely just. A person commits countless crimes, and he must be punished, but he isn't punished in this world. Therefore, there must be another realm so they can receive their punishment. Or consider our Prophet, PBUH. He worshipped Allah for 63 years, endured so much hardship, tied 2 stones to his stomach from hunger, and performed immense services, yet he passed away without, fully, seeing his reward. He must be recreated to receive that reward. Every single name of Allah necessitates the hereafter and the resurrection. Okay, the resurrection is necessary. But does God have the power to do it? Yes, this is our lesson today. Allah possesses this power. The doer is all-powerful. The being who will bring about the resurrection is all-powerful to the highest degree. We as students of the RİSALE-İ Nur are very fortunate in this regard. Thanks be to God. But people who do not know these lessons on divine power can fall into doubt. They say, according to the laws of chemistry and biology, the reanimation of a human is impossible. They get stuck behind the laws. But the one who created those laws of physics and chemistry is God Himself. As the verse in the last page of Surah Yasin says, that rebellious man asks, who will give life to these bones when they have rotted away? You say, He will give them life who produced them the first time. When you say that, the denier is silenced. There is no deficiency in his power. For a human, there is always the question, can he do this or can he do that? But for God, there is no such thing as cannot do. The greatest and the smallest things are equal to Him. To create a spring is as easy as creating a flower. These are declarative statements about His power. He will prove them shortly. He is an all-powerful one, to whose grandeur and power this entire universe testifies with limitless tongues. We will look at the universe when we contemplate God's power. We see the acts of that power. So we must look at what the power does. Flowers are being created. This means there is a power that creates them. Suns and stars are being created. The creation of all these things in such an orderly, balanced, and artistic way points to the power behind them. The grandeur of the art is a proof of the grandeur of the power. A man builds this building, and we say, "This is the man who built it." But God created the universe from a single point, a seed. This is the prevailing understanding, and the Quran alludes to it. From a point of zero volume, with an immense manifestation of power, He creates a tremendous energy in a fraction of a second. From that energy, He creates subatomic particles, then atoms. By combining and rotating them, He creates the universe. The universe is created like a constantly expanding balloon. It is said there are nearly 2 trillion galaxies within it, and in each galaxy, perhaps 2 trillion stars. One of those is our Milky Way, and one of those is our Sun. We live on a planet orbiting it, a universe 13.7 billion light years in size, filled with all this creation. If you want to understand God's power, look at this. There is an artistry in this order that cries out to the heavens. As we mentioned in past lessons, the number of atoms in a single 1 cubic centimeter sugar cube is more than the known number of stars. God creates every atom there with its protons and electrons. From the smallest point to the entirety of the cosmos, His power administers every part at every level with absolute dominion. There is no chaos, no chance. Yes, He is an all-powerful one. Does any delusion or doubt have the right to deem the bodily resurrection, Haşr-i cismanî, as unlikely or distant, istib'ad, for such a power? The bodily resurrection is the recreation of all human beings, from Adam to the end of time, in the field of gathering. Can any doubt enter here and say, He can't do this? Yes, it is witnessed with our eyes that an all-powerful One of Majesty, Kadir-i Zülcelal, creates a new orderly world in this realm every century. Every word in the RİSALE-İ Nur is full of meaning, none is wasted. Kadir-i Zülcelal, the All-Powerful One of Majesty. Man cannot fully comprehend His power or draw its limits. How can you? He creates everything at the same time. His existence is certain, but His howness and essence are beyond human comprehension. And the one who places the vast flower of spring, decorated with 100,000 patterns of resurrection, upon the head of the earth, can it be said of such a being, how will He bring about the final hour? We furnish this room and it stays static. If we change the furniture every hour, each change would be a separate act. God, however, created this universe, but it isn't static. He changes it every century, every year, every day. Power is at work every second, in every part of the cosmos. This all-powerful One's perfection of power, and that nothing is difficult for Him, and that the greatest thing is not more difficult for Him than the smallest, and that countless individuals are as easy for Him as a single individual, is declared by this verse. Your creation and your resurrection are but as those of a single soul. This is the famous verse of resurrection. It means creating perhaps 500 billion people is as easy for His power as creating one person. We have explained this truth in the 10th word, the nokta, point epistle, and the 20th letter. Here we will explain it briefly in the form of 3 matters. Here is the main topic of the lesson. Why is it so easy? Why everything is easy for God's power? 1. Divine power is essential, zati. This means it is inherent to His essence. It is not given to Him by another. Our existence, for example, is from God. We are dependent. But Allah's existence, His power, and all His attributes are from His essence. Therefore, weakness, as Asi says, cannot penetrate tahallul it. We look at the universe, it is being created. This means there is a creator and he has power. This power is essential, zati. Let's think logically. A train of wagons cannot move without a locomotive at the front. There must be an essential reality that moves by itself. Furthermore, a given power would be limited. The power we see in the universe is limitless. A limitless power can only be essential, zati. An essence that necessitates power cannot also necessitate its opposite, weakness. When weakness cannot enter the equation, there can be no levels or degrees, mertebe, of power. When there are no levels, it is infinite, nihayetsiz. The fact that his power is essential results in it being infinite. 2. It pertains to the melekutiyet, the inner metaphysical reality of things. Therefore, obstacles, mevani, cannot interfere, tedahül. When we interact with things, their properties like hardness, softness, are obstacles for us. Can they be obstacles for God? Number. Why? Because He is the one who gave them those properties. He told the iron, be hard, and it became hard. If He told it, be soft, it would be soft. A rule set by a king, e.g., no one passes this door, does not apply to the king himself. The one who makes the rules is not bound by the rules. When someone says, resurrection is impossible according to the laws of chemistry, they are thinking of God as if He is like themselves. The one who created those laws can change them, and it becomes possible. There are no obstacles for His power. For example, He can create an apple from iron, from mud, or from stone. Why? Because He has dominion over its atoms. As a miracle for the Prophet Salih, peace be upon him, he brought forth a camel from a rock. For us, that is impossible. But for God, bringing it from rock or from another camel makes no difference to His power. When I lift this book, it's heavy. Why? Gravity. Is it heavy for Allah? The one pulling it down is Allah, and the one lifting it is Allah. It cannot be heavy for Him. He is the one who makes it heavy. We sometimes, God forbid, think of Allah as being inside this universe. But He is the one who set all the rules. Melekutiyet is the inner face of things, where the rules and causes are not. Causes are for us. A tree needs sun and water. God doesn't need them. He can directly command the atoms and do the same thing. The Melekutiyet is the side where there are no veils of causes. Since there are no obstacles, everything is easy for Him. It's hard for us because the properties and laws of things are obstacles for us. 3. Its relationship is law-like, kanunidir. Therefore, the part kuz becomes equal, musavi, to the whole, kule. When there is a law, it applies to everyone and everywhere equally. Big or small doesn't matter. We will now prove these 3 matters. First matter. Eternal power is a necessary and essential requisite of the most holy divine essence. Lazime-i zaruriye-i zatiyesidir. Zat-ı akdesi ilahiye. Akdes means the most holy, the most pure of all flows. When you think of God's essence, you cannot think of any negative concept like He can create an atom but not a sun. God can create anything that is not intrinsically impossible. Zatında muhal. His inability to do the impossible is not from a lack of power, but because the concept itself is absurd. For example, can God create a second God? A created thing, by definition, cannot be a God, whose existence is from Himself. These are traps. The answer is, the question is undefined and false. Power is an essential requisite of His essence. My attributes, like my strength, are given to me, they can be taken away. I can get sick or die. But God's attributes are essential, so they can never be separated from Him. Therefore, weakness, which is the opposite of power, cannot touch that essence. Because then you would have the joining of two opposites, cevahir, in one essence, which is impossible. The joining of two opposites, like strength and weakness, can happen in created beings, which have levels, merteb. I am this beautiful or that strong. Why? Because Allah gave that much. The level is determined by the giver. But when the attribute is essential, from the essence itself, there are no levels. Why? Because a level is created by the presence of its opposite. Since the opposite, weakness, cannot enter, you cannot think of any negative or limited meaning for his power. Since weakness cannot enter the essence, it cannot penetrate the power that stems from it. And since weakness cannot enter the power, that essential power cannot have levels or degrees, because the levels of a thing are only formed by the intervention of its opposites. For example, the levels of heat are caused by the intervention of cold. The degrees of beauty are caused by the intervention of ugliness. But in the realm of creation, mumkinat, opposites can mix and levels are formed. In the created world, nothing is essential, it's all given. So since the eternal power cannot have levels, because it is essential and its opposite, weakness cannot enter it, then by necessity, all created things, maqdurat, have a uniform relationship to that power. The greatest and the smallest become equal. Particles become equivalent to stars. The resurrection of all mankind becomes as easy for that power as the raising of a single soul. The creation of a spring becomes as easy as the creation of a single flower. If you were to attribute creation to causes, asbab, then a single flower would become as difficult to create as an entire spring. As proven in the 20th letter, if the creation of things is given to the one, the unique, all things become as easy as one thing. If it is given to causes, one thing becomes as difficult as all things. Second matter, power pertains to the melekutiyet, inner reality of things. As I always ask, which is harder, water or iron? For us, iron is hard, but for Allah, the force holding the atoms of iron together is a manifestation of His power. He can reduce that force and it becomes soft. The hardness is given by Him. When I lift this book, it's heavy because of gravity. Is it heavy for Allah? The one pulling it down is Allah, and the one lifting it is Allah. It can't be heavy for Him. He is the one who makes it heavy. The universe has two faces, like a mirror. The mulk, physical face, like the colored outer side of the mirror. This is where opposites clash. Good/evil, beautiful/ugly, heavy/easy. The melekutiyet inner face, like the bright reflective side. From the melekutiyet side, there is no ugliness. For example, someone dies. From our mulk side, this is bad. But from the melekutiyet side, there is wisdom and mercy in that decree. It is beautiful. Those who have attained this reality see everything as beautiful. Our ustad, master, was put in prison. He gave thanks. Calamity struck. He said, it is good. He sees the inner face. We see the outer face, so we see ugliness. Because we see ugliness, God places causes in between, as veils, so that we blame the causes and don't disrespect God. This is why the All-Majestic Maker placed apparent causes as a veil over the workings of His power, so that the hand of power is not seen by the worldly mind to be directly involved in base or unworthy tasks. Majesty and honor demand this. But He gave no real effect to those causes because oneness demands that. The inner melekutiyet face, however, is pure and luminous. It is turned directly to its creator without any intermediary. In that realm, there is no sequence of causes, terettübü esbab, or chain of causation, teselsülü ilal. Everything is possible. In short, that power is simple, non-composite, infinite, and essential, zati. The realm it attaches to, the melekutiyet, is without intermediary, without blemish, and without rebellion. Therefore, in the sphere of that power, the great has no arrogance, difficulty over the small. A community has no precedence, difficulty over an individual. The whole kül cannot be coy, pose more difficulty than the part, küz. The six secrets, like transparency, radiance, etc., are coming up, but our time is up. We will stop here for now, but insha'Allah, this discussion on power will continue. May God allow these truths to blossom in our minds. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العالم الحكيم. For the sake of Allah, Al-Fatiha.